Howdy do, fellow kids.
All right, you assholes.
Tell me who is in charge of this disaster in space. Who did they get to run this?
I think that's I think the term is but
so, go ahead.
So what Disney diversity, which is just meant to exclude white men. Let's be real, and that's what Star Wars fans are mad about, for lack of a better description.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs.
I am not obliged to, that is, to address a point that doesn't pertain to the subject that I previously stated.
You can pick up the softback trade paper.
Like woke, Mary Sue, objective truth, they don't mean much, but nothing ever does across the grift of...
Bring organized chaos on.
I'm sorry, I can't bite my tongue anymore. I'm tired of fucking idiots. I'm tired of them. Stop listening to these channels that are making you more stupid.
I can tell you that the music was not good. It wasn't. It doesn't, like, yes, Rachel Zegler can sing, but the music wasn't good. The songs were not good. But try not to cuss people out on the road while I'm driving. You have stupid fucking people on the road like that. But if you're into I don't know, I need to do a whole video where I can teach people how to drive.
What kind of American are you?
Hey, it's me and him and Bob, maybe.
Who knows?
We don't know.
I might be here.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
I'm under the weather, but I'm here.
I've been better. I'm under the weather as well. And I'll go ahead and announce it right now. I'm going to be canceling my stream tomorrow just to rest a bit and recover. But I will be live on Saturday for a solo stream, cover some comic books. So,
okay.
Just FYI.
Yeah, I mean, so credit to JJ Trujillo for that video. We could watch the whole thing if you guys want. It's fucking funny. But I mean, you kind of got the gist there. Like Eric said right before we went live, like the best thing about all these chud content creators going after each other is the funny content that emerges from it. You know, there's the puppets. About 95% of the puppet videos are pretty damn great. And the rest is kind of racist or homophobic. No, it was not a real car crash. At least not that time. But like, if you're fucking, leaving a movie angry, which he wasn't really, like, that was probably planned for, I don't know, months in advance, right? Go buy a ticket.
He could have recorded that video a week ago. We don't know. He could have recorded that video a week ago. We have no idea.
He could have recorded it. Like, he probably I mean, realistically, why wouldn't you do that, right? Just like sit in your car and record a bunch of reactions to movies that you know you're going to say are bad. There's no way.
the review didn't really cover anything that we couldn't have just made up. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like this specific scene in this moment was this. His review was like,
from what you can hear, because the funny part about that video that Trujillo did is that he just added some engine noise and cranked it way the fuck up to where you can barely hear Jeremy most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just great, brilliant fucking idea for that video. But like, he says some stuff that sounds like he's just responding to the positive stuff that has been said about the movie.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh no, Rachel Zegler's not good. She sucks." And yeah, the music's good, but she sings okay, but the music sucks or whatever. It's just clearly just list of talking points.
I would go as far to say that like not only could he have just made it up, but it seems like a lot of these channels now have given up on actually going to see these movies. I mean, Critical Drinker's been doing reviews that are kind of suspect. Melanie Mack
Nerdrotic
doesn't really watch
too.
stuff that she talks about it. Yeah, Nerdrotic too. Like the days of doing these deep dives, like we used to kind of poke fun at EFAPing because they'd spend like 6 hours talking about a movie. But now it's gotten to the point where these guys spend 3 minutes talking about a movie. And then it's like, that's their whole review of it. They've gotten very lazy about it.
No, hold on. Wait, what? No, he was not actually in a car crash, as far as I know. I mean, no, that's just the joke.
That video is a parody, guys. It is a parody. It
satirical
was not a real car crash.
content. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I didn't know that ContraPoints finally released, I guess, her decade video, I guess.
Also, Jeremy, they were claiming victory over a movie that they said was objectively bad.
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you claim victory over something that was already going to be bad? Like,
well, I mean, should have been here. We recorded yesterday, me and Bob, looking at this. It's kind of an older video where it was about Deadpool and Wolverine, and you'll see that go up somewhere in the next few days. But it was Mahler and Nerdrotic kind of half-assed paying attention. He wasn't really paying attention, but he was. They were arguing about like not whether or not Deadpool and Wolverine was good or bad. It was whether or not it was as bad as the Acolyte, which is what Mahler's statement was. That it's worse.
Not the Acolyte, Ahsoka.
I mean, sorry, yeah. So you're right. It was worse than Ahsoka, and Gary was just like, "Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't." Gary one moment saying he actually liked Deadpool Wolverine. It was really entertaining. Nothing, didn't do anything bad or wrong or whatever. A few minutes later, saying, it's like shit. Sure, it's shit, but it's like not as bad as shit as Ahsoka. So Gary just flip flopping all over the place about what he's.
I mean, at first I thought Gary was just being like, not really wanting to debate. But then quickly what I realized is, yeah, that's kind of it. But it's also mainly Gary doesn't give a shit.
It's fucking funny because you can Mahler is like impassionedly explaining why he sees the movies the way reason he reviews them the way that he does, that's a whole other thing we can get into if you want, because it was a peek behind the curtain of the nonsense going on in Mahler's brain. Why's my AC making weird noises? Anyway, and Gary's just sitting there like doing other shit. It was like he's scrapbooking or some shit while Mahler's just talking, and then a few minutes later, Gary just looks up, and you can tell he hasn't heard a fucking thing Mahler said. Right. He's just like, no, it's not. It's not as bad.
They don't have to pay attention.
It's so simple.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard for us to even look at their stuff and debunk it because now they're not even saying anything.
They're not trying. Yeah. They've already, they in a way that I guess will. Be easier to point out how fucking dishonest they are, but at the same time, it's like it's not a good sign that they think that they can just, go through the motions at this point and skate. But, we'll see.
I mean, to a degree, I guess you could say it's easier when they're just saying things that are objectively wrong about the movies, things that don't actually happen.
I think they don't want to be proven. I think they don't want to be debunked. The easiest way to not be debunked is to be vague. Like, if they just say vague stuff, you don't have to worry about somebody coming in and dropping facts.
Some assholes come along, start debunking these guys or what? What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you say the music sucked, you're not saying anything for me to debunk there. It's like now you're speaking subjectively, which is fine, but you're no longer saying that the movie is objectively bad because you're not even bothering to provide any actual details.
Yeah,
I mean, let's get it out on the table. Snow White fucking bombed, and none of us here give a shit.
I don't care. It's a kid's movie.
Don't fucking care.
I
You're a 45-year-old man invested in it.
when these guys used to do these hate campaigns against these movies, I would sometimes put them to the agenda just to watch it for myself. And I didn't even do that this time because I genuinely do not care. I don't like the original animated one. I think Rachel Zegler is a fine actress. I'm less thrilled with Gal Gadot, although I think she was a decent Wonder Woman. Not filled for Zionist, but that doesn't have to.
Well, she's indigenous to Israel.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. But yeah, I didn't care. Disney live action remakes mostly suck.
That's the thing is so many people wanted me to like push back against it, but I'm like, it's a kids movie. I don't really care about this movie. Like I don't care enough to dive into it to even look up all of the details. I did like a slight deep dive in it like a couple months ago where I went back and tried to see the differences between this movie and the Disney version and then the original fairy tale to try and find all the differences. And I'm going through and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's got a bunch of different shit in it, but ultimately I just sat back and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's a kid's movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like why do I care this much?
Jax, I don't know who's got that super chat, but it's a good point. We are going to talk about that. Let's go ahead and talk about that and be pleasant before we get into the chat stuff. And, I guess because I'm actually not happy about this news, but whoever super chat that is,
I think it's Bob's.
Okay. He does pop up mine, so thank you. Did you hear the announcement that the actors from X-Men movies are going to be appearing in Avengers Doomsday? Do you think the MCU will have a soft reboot after Secret Wars, just like a refresh? I personally, I think they might bring. It seems like they're bringing. So I don't know how far you've dug into it. I haven't even dug that deep into it. As far as I can tell, it looks like
I've got it right here. I watched the thing.
It looks
what
like
a
Kelsey
dumb!
Grammer
I have
and
to say,
Patrick Stewart are
dumb way to announce it. I hated it. I understand they were trying to build hype, but like as soon as I saw that, I turned it off. I was like, I'll just wait till the whole list comes out. I'm not gonna sit through this. Millions of people were watching it though, so
I caught it right as
I thought Marvel was
like, oh, good. I don't have to wait for anything. I just have to kind of scan backward and see what they announced.
I have issues with this, but probably not for the reason that everybody has issues with it. I guess
we might have the same issue. We'll see.
Maybe.
I've talked about it before.
I haven't thought too much about it, but
the Foxman universe needs to die. I think it needs to be done. I have respect for the parts that I think most people generally think are pretty good, and then there's a lot of stuff that in hindsight. Even at the time, was pissing me off as a hardcore X-Men fan that like they didn't seem to care about certain aspects as much as others. So while they nailed Professor X and Magneto and Wolverine mostly and stuff like that, there was everything else was just like whatever. Nobody cares
Cyclops
about this.
was bad in those movies. Oh my god!
And on that in that vein, it seems like maybe they're trying to pay some respect the same way they did with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like bring some of that stuff back into this. We give them a better exit is what I'm hoping. Because I really, the moment that they revealed Patrick Stewart in Doctor Strange 2 was the first time I was like, no, stop, fucking don't do this. You know what I mean? But then they did what they did in that movie, and I had hope. And then Wolverine seemed to indicate he was done. Hugh Jackman seemed to indicate he was done at the end of the movie, but they left the door open as well.
Well, I think what happened is Deadpool and Wolverine definitely feels like them giving a farewell to the Fox universe, but there's still remnants left, unfortunately, with the post-credit scenes in the Marvels.
I think that
they're just addressing that.
I think that they took the wrong lessons from Deadpool and Wolverine again, which is
possibly
this movie was successful because we threw cameos in it. So now we're going to do the same thing in this Doomsday movie.
I mean, I don't think there was ever a time. There was no way they were never going to not have cameos in these movies. That's just a perfect opportunity, and it works too well.
I didn't think they were going to have the Fox characters come back as cameos. That's it. Like I think that whole thing, because Channing Tatum is now apparently in it too, which means that they're bringing him back from Deadpool and Wolverine. And
I'm not thrilled with that.
It's just one of those things where I want to be excited for this, but this is where I guess it could come across a little bit chuddy or whatever. Is these are one of these stories where there is fidelity from the comics that would literally work in this story. That I feel like they're going to ignore because they want to do a cameo fest. That's what I think. And trust me, I knew they were going to do a ton of cameos, but I didn't think that the Fox characers were coming back. That was the ones where I'm like,
I don't have any evidence to show that they're going to actually forsake anything we think they should do because they're doing this, but it could happen. You're right. And I hope that that's not the case. I hope that they, but I mean, at the same time, looking at that cast as it went down to, as I scanned backwards through the stream to look at all the chairs they had there, they don't have a lot as far as big names that they used to have. And so it kind of, in a way, makes the sense that they're going to be, reaching back to.
I'll be honest. I was shocked that Mark Ruffalo wasn't there. That one really shocked me.
I did see somebody, was it the Russos? They denounced, or somebody said that fan art, or that concept art rather, that came out wasn't necessarily real, or some shit like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they did say it wasn't, but I don't know if I believe that or not. I don't like. They say stuff all the time. I will say though that this is either going to be, on the financial side, one of the biggest things that has ever been done in cinema, or one of the biggest bombs that has ever happened in cinema. I don't think there's a mid-range on this. I think it's either going to be a soaring success or a massive failure.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is they're probably going to spend a shitload of money. So even if it just like does as well as like your average successful Marvel movie, if it doesn't get close to fucking Infinity War and Endgame numbers, then it will be a failure.
For them, I think that would be a failure. Yeah.
Yeah, the Avengers movies are probably some of the few movies where they're actually shooting for $1 billion box office.
It's going to cost close to $1 billion to make both movies, which is what they're going to end up doing.
When you think about it, all of these other movies that they do, that the chuds are always talking about, acting like each one of these is somehow, if it fails, then Marvel's done. No, it's more like those movies are made to build up to these types of movies. And
these are the money makers. The Avengers movies were the money makers. That's where they wanted to make all their money.
We're going to see at that point whether or not that this is a house of cards. You know what I mean? I mean, I have to think that they've got something, good brewing, at least as far as the story, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to bring people out to the theaters. I don't know. It
looks very desperate to me, with all this casting. That's one of my big things is I think that the abandonment of what, and when I say abandoned, I don't mean like not using the characters, but I guess them being a little lukewarm on the Phase 4 stuff, holding up the franchise, it's a bad look. Because you're going all the way back to the Fox movies, which did not perform very well. Most of those movies didn't do well financially. So,
and I think that and I don't want to. I think that they had earned the leeway to do stuff like Ms. Marvel, which is a weird kind of show, and like Moon Knight, and they took some, they had the chance to do some adventurous stuff for them, and they did, I feel like. But the thing that let that down was that the structure they had that they were planning on failed due to there was a death of Chadwick Boseman, there was
COVID.
COVID. There was everything that they had in place that was going to be like, well, we can experiment with some of this stuff because as long as this skeleton of Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man and Wasp, Kang, as long as that stuff's all good, then we're good. But half of that shit failed.
I mean, they didn't follow up with the stuff that people really wanted, like Shang-Chi too. Where did that happen? Where did that go?
You know what? I'm actually wondering what happened with the director. Because he was originally supposed to be doing this first Avengers movie that's going to be coming up. The first. And then
now he's doing Spider-Man now, isn't he?
Is that it?
He's doing Spider-Man 4, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't know that. Well,
but
I'm surprised they don't have him doing Shang-Chi 2, but Shang-Chi.
Well, that's the thing is that's supposed to come out now after Secret Wars. So
are they doing Eternals too?
I don't know about that.
The reason they're not doing that is because I think they probably could. I don't think it would, be a big deal if they did recast, but what I think they did was they saw an opportunity to pivot to something that they would be more confident would be successful. And that's when you get the RDJ as Doom announcement and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about ready to say they kind of did, and it's Robert Downey Jr. They kind of.
Yep. Yeah, they recast his. True.
That's another conversation to have. Completely, that could be an hour or 2 hour long conversation about what's going on with the box office in terms of movies right now. Because Captain America: Brave New World is one of the best performing movies at the moment.
Right.
So
it's not even close. It's not even.
Yes. Oh, Kelsey Grammer as well. I don't know if anybody said that yet, but he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't have a very fond. Okay, so this is going to sound heartless, I guess, but I don't have a very fond memories or fond memories in general of the X-Men Fox universe. Like, there's some characters and some movies that I like, but overall, I hated that universe. I was ready for it to die.
I'm with you now, but like at the time, I was like so happy because that was the best. That was all we got. That was like the 2000 X-Men. That was a movie that kind of set things into motion. And as a big X-Men fan, at that point, I was Marvel fans. Longtime Marvel fans have learned how to cope for a long time. That's why whenever the MCU started like actually doing stuff that was more comic accurate, it's like in hindsight, and this is why movies aren't fucking objective, Mahler, you idiot. Because in hindsight, those movies get worse. You know what I mean? Because you're seeing these new movies. Oh, wait,
and I think X-Men 97 shows that they can do stuff that is very comic booky and it works and people will like it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like edging us out with those costume reveals like every couple of movies and then never giving them to us was fucking stupid. Yeah, they botched the Dark Phoenix saga twice. They had a second chance of that to do it right, and they did basically the same fucking thing the second time.
Literally one of the most, possibly the most classic X-Men story, and they fucked it up twice. Now
they don't seem to understand that you don't get Dark Phoenix without Phoenix. You have to have a Phoenix saga and then a Dark Phoenix saga. You can't jump to Dark Phoenix.
Even Cyclops and Jean their proper due as a couple, like as in like front and center for a few movies, like really, sell us on their love for each other and stuff. Then it's not going to be the tragedy that it needs to be. You know what I mean? It's just not. They couldn't. Yeah, they look at it's like they were looking the same problem as what DC or Warner Brothers did rather for a long time. They would look at their revenue, the history of the books that have come out and sold well, and basically like look at what's at the top of the list and go, what's this Dark Phoenix thing? Let's do that. And they're like, well, we did that a couple of movies ago. Well, let's do it again. Same thing with like the Death of Superman or whatever. They look at their list and they're like, oh, Death of Superman, that sold really well. Let's do that.
Right.
But it's not a second movie, sir. Well, let's do it.
Yeah, my issues, I have a lot of issues with the X-Men movies. I know a lot of people probably don't, but I do. I don't want, one of the things I really hoped with Marvel was that they weren't going to do too much with those characters. Like the cameo stuff, like with Professor X, okay, whatever. Wolverine and Deadpool, fine. But I was hoping to get sort of a fresh start. What this tells me now is that it reeks of desperation. It reeks of too much fan service. It feels like we're going to have this hanging over our heads because no matter what happens, and trust me, in Secret Wars going into like the next phase of Marvel, we're not going to keep geriatric X-Men around.
Right.
We're going to get a younger group of X-Men.
I want to see the future. I want to be there now. I want them to be, confidently step forward with a cast and a new idea for what it's going to be. I mean, oh God, naive asked me a few years ago when I thought that the Krakoan era in the comics was going to be what the MCU pulled from. Whoa, fuck. We can't even get them to do anything new.
I think X2 in a vacuum, like as a standalone movie, is fine. I think as part of a larger scope of films, it still suffers from the same problems as the rest of the movies.
X2, First Class,
First Class is my favorite one.
Logan. Good movies, but
the First Class still had problems too. I mean, there was a lot of issues with First Class.
Yes, it did.
But it's still, I think, the best individual like X-Men movie.
I would argue that's the best movie with the name X-Men in the title.
You know what, man? This is a valid perspective too, because shit's not great right now. Like, sometimes you just gotta take the wins where you can. Yeah. And I definitely don't want to be one of those guys on the internet that's like, it's not exactly the way that I want it, so I'm going to complain. I'm going to see this with open mind. I'm going to go into it, the same way I did with, like I said, I didn't want Hugh Jackman to come back. I didn't want any of this shit to stick around, but I was very pleasantly surprised with Deadpool Wolverine, and I'm hoping this, wins me over.
Yeah. I'm hoping kind of Deadpool and Wolverine kind of is the end of it, and they just bring back the bare minimum that they need to resolve whatever they're doing with the Marvels and then do a new thing.
I actually think these are going to be billion-dollar movies. I believe they're going to be billion-dollar movies. I think they're going to be successful. So
they have a very good chance.
It's almost like they're too big to fail. But like the thing that struck me just a little while ago, right? Because I'd read this or seen this news, and then I was kind of thinking about it, talking to a couple of people about it, and then suddenly it hit me. Hugh Jackman's going to come back too, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's going to
100%.
He has
probably.
We're not going to do all this and not bring Jackman back for it.
And I love Hugh Jackman,
these characters and these actors because let them do it. You know what I mean? Like let them have a movie instead of the problem. One of the big problems with all those X-Men movies, they were essentially Wolverine movies.
Yeah.
And I'm a fucking Wolverine head. This is me saying this.
And I love what Hugh Jackman kind of did his own thing with the character, and I fucking love it. But we can do a new one, guys. It's okay.
I think they are too afraid to do it 100%. That's why we're getting this in Doomsday.
Yeah.
But if we get anything like if Secret Wars is going to be anything like the one from the comics, we can tell like these little pocket stories before like wrapping everything up. But I don't know. I have no idea. I want to be excited, but I feel so let down because I was looking forward to like a fresh start from the X-Men, and this feels to me like it's not a fresh start. So
well, it shouldn't be too hard. I mean, X-Men 97 isn't that old. I feel like that is kind of like, if you're looking for a good way to restart the X-Men, look at see what X-Men 97 did and do something similar. That'd be much better.
Yeah, exactly. That's what. Yeah, for sure. I mean, so what I'm thinking is that like, what is Marvel's idea of what they're doing here, right? So are they, do they think that if they just give fans enough of these versions that they're gonna satisfy fans, and then whenever they move on, they'll be like they'll completely support it, or what? You think maybe that's?
I think there's a combination of stuff happening. I think they took the wrong lessons from the Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi, because those movies came out during turbulent times. So they were like, people must not want these kinds of movies, so we're not going to do them anymore. I think they've allowed mistakes they've made, like with the Marvels, trying to like, instead of doing a Captain Marvel 2, doing some weird movie that felt like a hybrid of 2 or 3 different things, didn't work. So they ran away from that. So they're like, fuck it, we'll just go back and use the same stuff that we've been doing that made us all that money in phases 1 and 2. Is essentially what I think they're doing.
I don't think that we have to be mutually exclusive here, Greg. Like, I am somewhat disappointed, but at the same time, I very much hope that this is exactly what they do. That they're gonna hit it out of the park. Same way, bringing back fucking Elektra. You know what I mean? But yet she makes a great appearance in that movie.
I think so, Greg. And I don't want to come across, I guess, jaded about this, but I don't want all of these old actors to come back and knock it out of the park just to get erased.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. If they come back and they kill it, we're either going to end up with geriatric X-Men all in their 80s next year. You know what I mean? Like all these old guys playing X-Men, which I hate to say that. That's not sustainable. No. We have to do another reset at some point. Because the continuity in the X-Men films was fucked. Yes. Completely fucked. The age ranges were different. The character stories were all fucked up. One brother was younger when he was supposed to be older. There was just all of these fucked up things they did.
And then they kind of had a perfect opportunity, and seemed like they did try to correct it with the end of Days of Future Past. Yes. And then after that, it was just like, oh no, let's fuck it up again.
And some characters have 2 different versions. So which one do we go with at that point? You know what I mean? So we're in a situation where if we bring them back and they do good, which one do you keep? What if both Magnetos are fantastic? Do we just keep both Magnetos in the MCU? Do we get rid of one and keep the other? Do we boot both of them? It's such a weird thing. I don't know how they're going to make anybody happy with this. That's why I just don't. Why even do it? Why?
I agree.
Well, if we had a Chud scale of how chuddy somebody's being, I think, Eric, you're a little bit more on the Chud end of the spectrum right now. But I mean, I feel you generally.
I want it to be good, but my thing is, I'll be completely honest. I never wanted to see these characters again.
True.
I never did. I agree. Like, when Marvel bought it, I was excited to see what they would do different. I was excited to see them do new versions of these characters.
Yeah, they had a perfect opportunity to just to do it brand new.
Mm-hmm.
That's
because believe it or not, these are not the best versions.
I mean, some of them are okay, I think, but they're still not good enough to hold on to all of them.
No,
you know.
The only one I was actually kind of hoping they'd keep around was Daphne Keane as Laura. That's the one I was kind of hoping they'd keep around.
Are they not going to do that?
Because I feel like that. I feel like okay, so the X universe, like you're saying, Dane, right now. The X universe in Deadpool and Wolverine seems to me like a very clear cut. This is what we're going to do. We're going to keep her around, maybe keep Hugh around, and everything else is being erased. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. But that's not what they're doing now. We're gonna have them come back again in Doomsday. I don't know. I can't be excited. Look, I can't pretend to be excited, and I also can't pretend to hate stuff. My opinion about this is I'm very confused, and I don't really want to see these actors back again. That's where I'm at in all this, you know. But some people are going to love it, and it's going to make a bunch of money.
And again, it's all we gotta see how the execution is. There's a possibility I will love this. I just am not thrilled with it initially. But
my question is, Bob, if they kill it and they do a good job, are they going to erase these characters? That's the problem.
And yeah, that is the problem, because if they kill it and they make a lot of money, they're not. And
right. Because right now, seeing them come back tells me that because of Deadpool and Wolverine, that's why this is happening. And they know there's money to be made there. So are we gonna get the 10th X-Men movie in the Fox universe next year?
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like it. Although, here, real quick before we move on, I did want to cover Jack because he was nice enough to do a super chat here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they give the Fox universe a proper farewell by merging it with the MCU and hopefully start anew properly and keeping Channing Tatum. I'll be honest. Thank you for the super chat, but I'll be honest. I thought Channing Tatum's Gambit was a funny joke, but I kind of don't want to see him come back. I don't.
Yeah, that's my concern though. Like, God, it's making me so sad.
They took the wrong lesson, right? Is they're like, oh, they like Channing Tatum. It's Gambit. It's kind of like the Morbius.
He joked his way into a role. Like it's literally just a joke role.
It's just not the Gambit I want to see in the MCU.
Back in theaters, right? For another, because they thought people were talking about it, right? So they must.
He doesn't even have a backstory. He was born in the Void. He said he doesn't remember anything other than the Void. He doesn't have a backstory. He wasn't connected to anything.
Plus, he was
where do I go from there? I don't even know where to go from there. Honestly, he's not part of any universe.
And they had a fantastic Gambit in freaking X-Men 97. I feel like I'm gonna repeat myself on that one, but like X-Men 97 kind of set out how you can handle these characters, and I'm not saying MCU just copy it, but like, you know, there's some good guideposts. It's not Fox. Fox are not the good guideposts. Don't know.
Well, Sean, he's not an iteration at all, really. He's a joke. It was a joke character. He was a gag character.
He literally comes in and they make jokes about his accent because it's obviously shitty.
Because they can't understand. Like, how do you turn that? There's no backstory for him. When we meet him in the Void, he's literally been in the Void the whole time. That's it. That's his whole story. He's never been a character. Do we really want a Gambit as our main Gambit that has no connection to any world?
I don't want a Gambit that's a joke. I don't.
I don't either. It's rough. It's rough. I'm gonna have to do a whole stream covering all the casting this week because I'm probably gonna talk about every single one. But I am not super happy with all of the Fox X-Men stuff being there.
Again, I'm saying this with the caveat. You know, I'm not saying it's not going to be good. They might do a really good job with it. I'd like to see fresher faces. I'd like to see them do a new thing.
But Pink Bunny Zero, I don't think we're going to be dealing with the multiverse after Secret Wars, right? That's the whole point, is that the incursion events happen. They keep what works. They get rid of what doesn't work. That's what they're trying to do. So there's no multiverse reason to keep that Gambit around.
Well, Adam, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Gambit being funny. I'm saying I don't want it to be a joke. Channing Tatum's Gambit in that movie was a joke character. Gambit can be funny. I don't want him to be a joke.
I want Gambit with a real backstory. I want a real character. Yeah. I don't want a character made as a throwaway gag. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Charles, so I want to pull this up. I don't know why people come in podcasts where people are talking about what they are thinking about when it comes to movies and TV shows and get mad that people are talking about those things and speculating about those things. I mean, that's really what all these podcasts are.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of the
I don't really understand that critique.
Speculation.
It would be very boring if people sat around and just said, okay, we got names. Now let's move on to the next topic.
I'll read off the names.
Right. This person. Okay, now next topic. Like, what are we going to do? We're talking about what we think about this. Yeah, different opinions are fine, Adam. I'm not holding it against anybody. Like I said, there's going to be a bunch of people that are really happy about this. I still think the movie is going to make $1 billion. I think both movies are going to do billions of dollars. And they could be great. They could be great movies. I will save my final opinion on it after I see it. I'm not going to make.
Exactly.
You're not going to see me make video after video telling people to not go support the film.
Yeah, we aren't even saying
So-
the movie's going to be bad. We're just saying this cast list announcement doesn't thrill us.
Yeah.
Trust me, if Eric Debunks or Eric's Reloaded starts putting out nonstop hater content on fucking Avengers movies between now and then, I'll be covering them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I gotta
like,
debunk Eric debunks.
it's very interesting that people have now, and I'm not saying anybody specific in this chat. Now, if you say you don't like something, you're immediately being a hater. Like that's the way people feel about things now. So I love the MCU. I love these characters. I'm not a fan of the Fox X-Men universe.
Yeah, I thought about that, but they made a big show of adding them to the freaking chairs and showing the chairs next to the ones we know are going to be the main cast generally. Pratt and Hemsworth and stuff like that. So actually, did I see Benedict Cumberbatch on there? I don't think.
He was on there. I think he was on there.
Was he? I don't remember him.
I think he was. I don't know for sure, but even if he wasn't, they've said that obviously he's going to be back for the second film because I think this was just for Doomsday.
Okay,
it was just for the Doomsday movie.
So I mean, there's a possibility that it could be something like you've got some of the newer Avengers, the younger Avengers, or whatever, and then you've got. I guess you could just show what's going on with these other characters, and they could all die, and that leads to the next movie or something like that.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I think if Doctor Strange shows up, because it seems like there's going to be a lot of different film franchises represented in Doomsday. I think if Doctor Strange does show up, it'll be at the very end during the incursion stuff. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I believe Doomsday is setting up Battleworld.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
what I think. So
absolutely. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the plan has changed a whole lot from what it originally was, except that now it's going to be Doom. See, I suspected that Doom might actually show up and kill Kang or something toward the end of the first one originally. That Doom was always going to be this in the second movie, the villain of the second movie. Anyways, do you want to talk about Signal Gate or whatever the fuck?
Yeah, we can talk about it. I have 25, 30 minutes left, so.
I actually don't know really anything about it. So.
Oh my god, I've been watching it for the last couple days. I pretty much know everything.
Started a Signal conversation. Signal, the Signal app, texting app. It's encrypted, guys. It's fine. It's not.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And he added a journalist from the Atlantic to it. Apparently, completely accidentally. The same way, Eric, you were part of a text group.
several of them. Yeah, several of them before they imploded and blew themselves up.
Really bad about just they get really excited, I guess, about starting a text chain, and they're like, "Oh, add him." They just accidentally add the exact person you really don't want to add.
Yeah.
Well, that would probably have been Putin or some other terrorists or some shit, but we don't.
Yeah,
know
I was like, should I be in this room? I don't know if I should be in this room, but it's whatever.
Yeah, and it ended up being thankfully, it was a journalist that seems to have ethics and stuff because he could have fucked that whole thing up. So what happened was they texted were texting about the plans to do some strike in Yemen. This is how we found out that we are now engaged in Yemen. Doing this particular engagement, when the strike was going to happen, exactly what ammunition was going to be used, where they were going to do the strike, stuff like that. That was all included. And then this journalist from the Atlantic yesterday was like, so we all found out about it, this evening or whatever, but I knew about it early this morning because I got texted all this information. And then the response has been fucking nuts. As far as how the Trump administration has handled people calling them out for it. These people don't know what they're doing, man. It's terrifying that they have access to the kind of thing that they can just call airstrikes.
I mean, the crazy thing is they were using this text app in the first place. It's not even that the reporter was in on it. I mean, that's bad in itself, but they shouldn't have been having these conversations on unsecured apps. Why are you doing this?
I've seen Chud saying Signal is secure. No, it's not. The Biden administration in particular. So they speaking to somebody that was off the record because he, whatever, but he was in the administration. He said they use the Signal app very rarely and only to encrypted text someone to say check your actual high levels classified system. They don't say what the message is about. They just say in case they can't get a hold of them or something, check that, check it. And that's it. That's the furthest they would ever go with talking about anything related to this kind of shit. We have no fucking secrecy. The secrecy that we do need, we don't have, and the secrecy that we don't need, they're not being transparent about that. So, up is down, black is white.
Yeah. Yeah, so Blood Video Company, they're doing this to avoid keeping a record. Yeah, that to me is the big thing, is that they're doing this because they're going through channels that aren't secure channels. They're also not regulated. So they were having these conversations off the record, essentially. And they're not supposed to. So anything they want to talk about, any sort of plans they want to do, they can just deny them because they're not actually in the records.
So yeah, I mean, Kayla, thanks for the comment. Apparently, is an intelligent student. I don't know what classes does that entail. Make your future job a million times harder. A normal Intel employee would have been right. Exactly. I mean, these are the people that fucking for years complained about Hillary's emails.
Yes.
Right? People that think that, you know, if it was any kind of slip up of any kind before, if it's the Democrat administration, they're calling for heads to roll. It's, you know, once again, hypocrisy is just that knows no bounds, and we can't call out every single thing they're hypocritical about because we'd be here all day. But it's
that would be the whole show. That would be
egregious. Yeah, we're gonna blow the fuck out of him in Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Use Signal to avoid keeping records. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's why the journalist thing, I feel like they need to get to that. Yeah, she was overseas. She was in Asia, I believe.
Was she in India? So she's probably doing it on purpose because she's like Modi's fucking, you know, ass licker.
Well, I think that's why they asked the question, to find out where she opened the message at. But the thing is, I'm waiting for them to get to that point, because all the stuff I've seen them so far is just trying to find out, like, specifically what each individual person had to do with this. But the bigger thing is, this opens the door up for all of these chats that just vanished after a week on Signal over the years. That are just gone. And how that's not okay. They actually had people there representing intelligence saying, you should not be having these kinds of conversations on Signal.
Yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
I guess fortunately now it's gained enough outrage, proper outrage, that, you know, because like when Trump was asked at a press conference, he did the literal thing, the Roy Cohn thing that Roy Cohn taught him fucking decades ago, and he's done it successfully apparently, where he goes, "Oh, the Atlantic. Oh, I haven't heard about this. You know, oh, that was the Atlantic that did. Oh, well, that's their failing paper. That, you know." So, but like,
right.
Pretend like you don't know what's going on. When at the same time, like, okay, you're the president, man. Either you're telling the truth and you don't know what's going on, or you don't know what's going on, and that's not great either.
Right.
Either one. But we know that he's just lying. He's doing the pretending.
The press secretary is also playing this whataboutism game all the time, where it's like somebody will ask her a question and say, "What do you think of this?" Well, the Biden administration is like, no. That's complete deflection. I don't care what they did, because if you agree that what they did was wrong, then that's not an excuse for why you did something wrong.
Exactly.
You should be doing better than them if you agree that what they were doing is wrong. Meaning you can't go, well, they did it too. Because that's not why people voted you into office. The people that voted you in was because they didn't like that administration. And they wanted you in to be more transparent, which is what they've said about Doge. Oh, Doge is so transparent, which we all know is bullshit. But Doge is so transparent, right? So they voted you in to be more transparent. You can't come in and be like, yeah, but they did it too. Hillary did it too. What about Biden's kid? What about Hunter's laptop? Like, you can't say that, because that's not an excuse or a defense for this. This is a mistake. You just need to accept it, and someone needs to be accountable for it. They don't want to get rid of anybody. Everybody that they have in those positions right now are important to whatever this plan is they have to dismantle things. So they can't get rid of one of those gears. All the gears have to be there. But somebody's going to have to go. I don't think we're getting past this one. I think this is something that is going to stick around until something happens.
I think the easiest one would be Hegseth, and I'd be happy with that.
Right, but he's the one that they want to keep. I think he's the big one.
Yeah, they really fought for Hegseth because his was one of the most controversial.
So the thing about it is also they're going to try and, I think, offer up a low-level like intern or some sort of assistant probably. Probably. But the thing about it is everyone on that was up for questioning perjured themselves. Which means that even if they weren't the ones that added that guy to the chat, the reporter to the chat, they lied about it, knowingly lied about it, and they're trying to skate around it. That's why I said I don't think this is going away. I think we're going to see calls for multiple people to be taken out of their position.
Yeah, I mean, but I kind of agree with Chair's story on this. I don't think anything's really probably going to happen.
That's true. There's a decent chance they just
with this administration where
rush it under
nothing
the
fucking matters. They're not.
I don't believe that. I feel like there's something different about this one to me. There's something different about this story to me. Like this goes beyond like party lines. We've got people in the military, like high-ranking officials in the military who are Republican. Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports was like, "This is fucking crazy." Like he made a whole video denouncing this. These are people that are massive MAGA supporters. Okay, I don't think they get to walk away from this one.
Here's something I actually learned about that I wanted to talk about too, and kind of relates to this exactly because. So, and you guys, anybody should try this. Next time there's a scandal, as soon as it breaks out of involving Trump or his administration, it looks really fucking bad like this, because there's going to be plenty of them, plenty of chances to do this. Go to the pro Donald Trump subreddits. Like, I think it's, which one is it? That they were talking about. I saw some people talking about, but like basically they will actually, for the first 24 hours or so, his fans will be like, "Oh, this looks bad. This is fucked up. I don't know," but like they'll actually you'll start to see the programming break down a little bit. But then within another 24 hours, they will have been issued the excuses and the denials and stuff like that they need to maintain this fucking cognitive dissonance or avoid cognitive dissonance, right? So like they you can kind of see them in real time being, almost start to break through the fucking veil, and then they'll be programmed again. They're like, "Oh no, here's your update. Here's your, here's what you got to say and what you got to think." Oh, okay, yeah, fucking liberals. Like,
I mean, the most famous case of this is January 6th, because there was a short period where everybody was condemning January 6th, and all of a sudden, the MAGA apparatus took hold, and all of a sudden, there was all this propaganda, Day of Love garbage. All of a sudden, you got a whole bunch of people who are just like, January 6th is overblown. It wasn't a big deal. It was a fucking insurrection, but sure.
Is it Arkan/conservative? Okay. Yeah. A lot of neocons are still in the government, right? But like, do they have any power? Does it matter? Like, it just kind of seems like, well, I guess we're really going to start testing this is, how far off the rails can this shit go without them literally facing any consequences whatsoever? I
mean, we're seeing also like Jank from Young Turks now calling this out. Like, this is different. And I know
right-wingers like Jank, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the people that have been bootlicking for a while now are starting to call this out too. Like, this isn't one of those things where they can sort of like pretend that it didn't occur. There's too much here. Like, we talk about like Trump getting away with stuff. Trump is different. Trump is different from anybody that he's put onto his cabinet. Like, he's completely, Trump and Elon are at different levels, right?
Yeah.
These guys are all just pawns in his game. They're all pawns. Look back at his original cabinet. How many times did he change people back in 2016 all the way through his presidency?
I mean, hell, how many people came back? Not
That's
many.
What I'm saying. He is not someone who is afraid to get rid of people if they think it hurts his image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's true. That's really the way you got to get to him, is like actually make him believe that his image is being hurt somehow.
I mean, I think it's something that, Tim Walz kind of hit it, but it need be hit more. Gee whiz, Trump, why aren't you running with Mike Pence anymore? What happened there?
Yeah. No, I mean,
I don't think
this is actually.
I agree, but we we also have to step outside of this for a bit. Like, I believe Pennsylvania just flipped a red seat blue, like a solid red seat in an unopposed spot, flipped to blue. First time somebody Democrat ran against someone there and they got the seat. We're seeing stuff like this happen in other places. You guys have to be willing to fight against stuff. This concept that it's throw in the towel. They're never gonna listen to us. They're never gonna do what we want.
We've talked to you about this before. Don't do your panic posting here, please. Like, that's what this is. This is like your greatest fears are being fucking, just typed out in chat as if you know these things for a fact. These are realistic things to be concerned about. I fucking 100% agree, but that's not a reason. We don't just fucking go, it's all over. The sky's already fallen, basically. Don't do that.
A lot of people feel that way. Look, I deal with people like that in my day-to-day life, and it's really frustrating for me because we're seeing small victories moving in the right direction. The fact that they're even holding conferences right now and pulling these people up to answer questions or whatever, the fact that that's even happening is a big deal. Because before they would have not even had that. It would have just completely gone by without anybody answering any questions. Right? So I understand feeling like that. But I can't co-sign or fuck with people that feel that way. I can't. Yeah. You have to have some sort of fight in you. Because otherwise, what's the point?
If you're not saying it's over, then you're misanalyzing or poorly analyzing the state of what's actually going on, and we can't operate from that either. You know, you can't
fuck these people, man. Like not you. Fuck the people that are in power. Not you, Tara.
Believe me, I hear you. Trust me.
But they're getting to the stuff now where people are really go to some of these videos of town halls, right? Like if you ever need to see where we are, go and watch some of the town hall videos where Republicans have dared to go in to try and talk to their constituents and look at what is happening. It's not an isolated thing. It's every single one of them. There are town halls with people holding up Canadian flags that are close to the border up there. There are people who are fighting back. This is the grassroots shit that I talked about way back in November. I said this is how it's going to happen. The fighting back is going to have to happen in grassroots level.
I want to talk about, I also want to get to some Nerdrotic stuff before you have to go, Eric. But I want to say why this is actually maybe a good thing, because for a long time, the last few months, I was kind of getting doomery about the lack of pushback that I'd seen in general. Because remember, there's a great video by what's her name, Taylor Lorenz, that she put out recently about the rise and fall of the hashtag resistance. And I watched that, and it is eye-opening for one thing, because you learn about a lot of these figures that were on Twitter and stuff, like Brooklyn Dad Defiant and shit like that. They were essentially always conservatives. They're just conservatives. They were fucking grifters, the same as anybody else, right? And that shit's done with. So we're not seeing that anymore. We're not seeing the fucking pussy hat march like we did the first time, because in which it might seem like concerning that we're not seeing that at first, but that shit was that was all show and tell. That's all that was. That was just people half-assing it for the grift and for appearances. Whereas now we might actually see some real grassroots fucking growth of people legitimately.
Look at AOC and Bernie's when they go to speak now. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, they're essentially touring, and they aren't touring for we're running for president or anything like that. They're touring to speak out against the current administration.
And Tim Walz is going into blue areas and speaking and listening to these people who are upset with what's happening.
You mean blue or red?
Oh, red. Going to red areas, where people are complaining about this. He is going to the places where they're refusing to talk to their constituents. So he's giving them a place to come in and scream and yell. And they're mad. They're mad at people like him. They're mad at Jasmine Crockett. They're mad that the people who are supposed to be the tolerant left are fighting back, because that's what they want. They want toleration. They want for people on the left, people on our side, to go, we're just going to let all this happen because we have to. No, you don't do that. That's not what you do. You don't get complicit because you think they're oppressive. That's what they want.
That's a good statement there. I like that. And then, they love it because they haven't felt the effects of it yet. I mean, they don't actually understand it, because if they understood things, they wouldn't have voted this way in the first
place. They're too stupid to understand it down there. I hate to say it. I know a lot of people down there that just are not. I mean, there's a lot of stupid people everywhere, but there's a lot of people that live in areas like South Carolina where they're fucking school. They're like one of the worst school systems in the entire country. So they don't have the ability to understand. Most people didn't understand that tariffs are taxes on people that live in this country. They're like, oh no, that China pays that, or Canada. No, they don't. We pay it.
I am from a red state. I lived my life in the South until about a decade ago. I still know people and engage.
I live in Southern Virginia. I have family in North Carolina. Come on.
I live in Portland, Oregon. I just got to drive out about 25, 30 miles and get into fucking urban Oregon. And there's a lot of this shit. We're not that disconnected. You probably maybe are just a little bit doomery because you are surrounded by it. And it just seems like literally everybody's okay with this. It's not, just, yeah.
I live in a state where we have a Republican governor. Come on. What are we talking about?
Exactly. If they cut Social Security and the people start having to fucking take care of their fucking grandparents.
That's exactly it, Dane. I'm so glad you said that. That is one thing I never hear brought up. What are all these people going to do once they have to be responsible for their parents and grandparents who were getting Social Security checks?
I'll be honest, I'm getting prepared for that in case it happens. I don't think it will, but yeah. I mean,
But I mean, if they do that, you're going to have literally every fucking old person, pretty much, that's not rich in this country on the streets.
What happens with when your grannies and your uncles and your mothers who are older, like especially in the southern part of the country where people live to 1,000? You know, you got these old people living in nursing homes and stuff. When they have no money, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do when there's no Medicaid for people and you have to pay to go to the doctor?
You're going to see old people like the same way we see, we have tent cities now and like in major cities all over. This
time to put grandma out to pasture. Sorry, let's leave her off on the corner over there because we can't afford to keep you. Like, that's what you're going to see. And once that happens, once we get there, there's no more denying it. There's no more denying it.
And I want to address this real fast. So Bernie Sanders has been very critical of Israel. I don't know the full nuances of his opinion. I know he's at least pro-ceasefire. So I don't know where you're getting this, Darks Nova, but no.
This is Darks Nova is one of those that's like I saw them on one of your posts, just basically telling you to don't worry about the anti-trans stuff. We got real stuff to worry about, Eric.
No, I saw.
Fuck
I think I responded to it too.
Yeah, I did too. Fuck that person. They're one of those fucking tankies. Anyway, so Nerdrotic is kind of getting crazier. It seems like that seems to be part of the strategy of, and you've been covering. You both, I think, covered it. It seems to be a strategy for dealing with being in a winning season of being, MAGA won, his guy's in office, DEI is going to die or whatever, except now he's becoming more paranoid, conspiracy driven, right? Seems like, Eric?
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I've been seeing him doing a lot more conspiracy shit.
I feel like I did a video about an hour, maybe 2 hours ago, where I talked about this a little bit. I feel like we're seeing a shift towards that because there's very little to complain about at the moment. It seems like they're kind of grifting on the Snow White thing because that's the last big thing they have. Because think about it, what is out there right now for them to go after? Like, there's not a lot. There's not a lot out there. Next year, we have Toy Story 5 coming out. They haven't touched that yet. We don't know a lot about it, so they haven't gone after that yet. I'm assuming they'll get to it. We have the live... What was that?
I was just going to say, what is there even to complain about? But I think I remember them complaining about Sporky or whatever the fuck.
Maybe. They have the live-action Moana that comes out next year. They have the Mandalorian movie with Grogu. That's pretty much it.
Although they haven't really touched Lilo and Stitch, and that comes out in a couple months.
There's not a lot for them to talk about. So I think what we're seeing is, and I looked at Nerdrotic's channel, his videos are getting, I don't want to say abysmal because there's still hundreds of thousands of views, but he's gone from like an average of around like 1 million to some of his videos getting 400,000 views. And people might not think that's a big difference, but it is. It's like you're seeing 60% drop in views on your channel. So that's a big deal. And so I think what's happening is he's amassed as many casual outraged fans as he can. He's done that now. So now they have to expand and they need to reach another market. And I think that market is conspiratorial market. Like they want to expand into sort of like that dried up QAnon community that doesn't really do anything anymore. I think they want to expand into that because that kind of content is really popular on TikTok and places like that. And I think they're trying to bring it in over here because there's just not a lot to like we said, they've dumbed down their reviews. They're not giving specifically, like they're not saying we didn't like this scene in this movie. Now it's all vague reviews. They're running out of stuff. The woke well is drying up. The virtue signaling well is drying up. They can't just keep saying it because victories have been made. They told everybody if you vote for Trump, woke goes away, DEI goes away. So they can't take that W because now they're pretending like that's not something that's happening. In the video, they said it's going to take at least, Starry Craig goes, at least 2 years before we start to see changes to anything. And Nerdrotic is like, maybe till 2028, like till the next person comes in. Like there's all of these like, well, we can't see it now. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take decades to change all of this. And the reason why is because they're playing people. And they're spiraling, and they're going to fail.
Another layer to what's been going. So, like, this kind of addresses stuff from the recent past, but like it'll add some context to it. So you know how there's been lots of anti-woke, anti-MCU, anti-Anthony Mackie, Melissa Barrera, Nia DaCosta, Amanda Stenberg, Rachel Zegler content and stuff. And it's like, we just kind of go, oh, it's because they're racist or whatever. But like, then they don't always do that with other people.
Right.
Nonetheless, like part of this, a wrinkle in this whole anti-Disney approach seems to be, based on what Clifford Bateau on Blue Sky says, that the owner of Variety is a friend of Ike Perlmutter. And
Yes.
that, if you know anything about Ike Perlmutter and what goes on in his personal life, he's been embroiled in a fucking back and forth lawsuit fucking war with his neighbor for years.
Yeah.
And it's the most petty rich guy bullshit you've ever heard of. Like all the details of it are just petty bullshit. And yet they've essentially just called out. Yeah.
I mean,
spent a lot of money getting real petty. And it's not beyond Perlmutter to ask his buddy at Variety, who, has been publishing some yikesy shit, to, be part of this. It's kind of like, because you remember I think we covered whenever they tried to essentially make there was a war with the Disney board, right? You remember that?
Yeah.
And they tried to get new people in there or whatever to be the anti-woke version of it. It failed. They didn't do it. And I think Perlmutter after that kind of decided on a new strategy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I mean, also like Sean brings up here, quartering is a good example of growth and then hitting that ceiling. So he got so big that he was sustaining whoever was working for him, making his coffee and all that bullshit that we don't drop ship. We make all of our own stuff here or whatever. So he reached a ceiling in the amount of money that he could make, and there was no growth left to happen for him. That was it. He got to the top. Now there's only one way to go. There's only one way. We're not going to see someone like the quartering all of a sudden pick up another big millions of subscribers. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's nothing big enough for him to do. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these other channels is they've reached their height and they have to sustain because they have people they're paying to do things. And once you start cutting some of that out, you start to lose some of the things you have. Like first thing to go would be something like, oh, we're going to get rid of some of our thumbnail people. So thumbnails start to change. We're going to get rid of some of our editors. Videos stop coming out as quickly. Things like that. There's a lot of things that we're going to see shift because they're going to start having to cut corners. And some of them are going to hide it. Like, I believe if Nerdrotic had to start firing people on his team, he would not say anything publicly. I don't think he would say anything.
I agree.
But Jeremy is an idiot. Quartering Jeremy. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
True. I mean, yeah.
But, yeah, there's not a lot of growth left. Critical Drinker's an outlier because Critical Drinker isn't 100%. He doesn't use the exact same formula as these other guys, but he will hit a ceiling as well.
You'll find a lot of people who will not like Nerdrotic and stuff, and yet they think Critical Drinker is good content.
Critical Drinker has like the cheapest production value ever, too.
Right. Yeah.
It's just trailer clips, poorly.
I would say I don't think Critical Drinker has a big team of people. He might have one or two people that are doing clips for him or whatever, because his thumbnails are just a picture from whatever it is he's talking about. So
yeah, it looks like a Google search. Oh, we'll go with that one.
Yeah. Also, Eric July is still bleeding subscribers, and he hasn't uploaded a video. The last time I looked, he hasn't uploaded a video in like 9 days, unless he put something out today.
Uh-oh.
So he hasn't made a video in like 9 days on any of his channels, other than Ripaverse, like ads for Ripaverse stuff. But he hasn't made any personal videos on his channel, and he's changed his thumbnails. Some of his thumbnails are just plain basic pictures now. He got away from the thumbnails with him on them.
Maybe he had to fire his thumbnail guy.
I'm thinking that he had to cut corners somewhere, just like a lot of these guys do. But yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't able to make it up with all that Great War separation money he was making.
Well, they just released the second issue, and like nobody even knew it was out. The numbers are low on that. So, one of the reviews for that from one of the diehard Ripaverse fans was like, "I can't wait to get more answers to these questions that they keep bringing up." Like,
oh my god,
they just keep presenting questions and not providing answers, which I think is
Melanie
hilarious.
Mack video for Eric. What does that mean?
What was that?
Somebody said Melanie Mack did a video for Eric.
Maybe for me to talk about. It must be like some anti-gay video.
Oh, okay.
I can't imagine she doesn't like to like actually talk about other people.
Yeah.
Like she won't react to other people that way. She usually just pulls up a picture of somebody and says, "Oh, look, they got blue hair." Troon.
Somewhere I have little clips of all these people talking shit on Gina Carano before she went, literally mask off, COVID mask off, and then also fascist mask off.
It is kind of funny how all of a sudden she's a great actress when before they thought she was quite bad.
Is it just the thing that everybody with the name Jeremy is like a piece of shit now? Is that what it is?
I know,
Oh,
right? I know.
he does an unboxing of his stuff, of his is it his
of Yaira statue. Yeah. I'm not totally surprised about that.
or the young Isom statue, maybe.
Maybe.
So I've got your video here. Like, I really just kind of want to hear. Like, I haven't heard exactly what it is that he says that you guys are like. You did one, Bob of the Old Ways. Maybe I should show his video since.
Are we talking about Gary and the side scrollers thing? Yeah, I covered that last stream. So yeah, he goes into pure conspiracy theory shit on that one.
2019. So what kept this shit going for 4 years further? Because
well, I mean, you're trying to say that one movie exemplifies what all the studios are trying to do. He's talking about Terminator Dark Fate.
Right, yeah, I remember. And then somebody pointed out that he calls him John Connors.
Yeah, he puts an S on the name, John Connors.
Gary. I've got another example that I'd have to search through it, but like, you remember back when Deadpool and Wolverine came out and the trailer dropped, and he didn't know who Cassandra Nova was, which is fine. It's like, whatever, don't know who that is. But then he said he thought it was Polaris.
Yeah,
which is
how do you even get to Polaris from that from the visual? It doesn't even make sense.
A character famous for green hair, and here's a bald character. It must be Polaris.
Turns out he has a problem with remembering who the fuck female characters are, because I was kind of checking out an older stream from like 2021 of theirs for various reasons, which I can maybe announce in a little bit. But there was a part where him and Az were talking about this stuff, and it's right after Falcon and Winter Soldier came out. And remember, what's her name? Contessa Fontaine or whatever her name that Elaine Bennett from Seinfeld plays?
Yeah.
Valentina.
Yeah, he thought that was Madam Hydra. He's like, well, they showed Madam Hydra or whatever. And I was like, oh no, Gary, you have a problem with women characters, don't you? You don't care enough to remember who the fuck they are. Or pay attention, I guess. So, and it's like he's trying to make some point about how Marvel's making bad shit because they already introduced this character or something and something else, and here she is, Madam Hydra again. It's like, that's not who that is at all, Gary.
I'm just waiting for the old video clip where we find Gary talking about how Mary Jane Watson was Dark Phoenix.
Cringe. Yeah, there's also, like, in that same stream that from 4 years ago now, there's the reason I was pointed to it was it seems to be maybe some context for Gary being so bitter towards the Hollywood crowd and culture and everything about it, it might be in there as well, because they kind of get into this I've been so poor and been where I didn't have any food and stuff like that, and these people blah blah. It's like you can start to sense the resentment, or it just really comes out. These actors, they're not actually good people. They have security that would use their guns and to kill you, and meanwhile you're voting against guns and stuff, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So yeah. Oh, Gary's comic books. That's right.
Oh yes.
Oh, you didn't remind me. I have
Gary has comic books.
So in the year of 2004, Gary and his I don't know if they were married then, but his wife Melissa, whatever, they launched their version of the Rippaverse, I guess, Entropy Comics, which is a very ironic name for a comic book publishing thing, because they put out 5 issues and they were done. And these are some of the shittiest, crappiest looking comics you could ever see, except for his wife's art, which is dated as 1989. So this is in 2004, and they used her art from 89 for a cover. Okay. But then,
which I get looking at Gary's art.
Gary was the writer and the artist on a book. Can you guys believe that? You want to look at his art?
Let's do it.
Let's see.
And I shiver with Antissa.
Sorry, it takes a while to find. Like, I don't even know why would he put this out at all? Like, these are listed on like these websites that keep track of comics that have been published and whether you own it or you can buy it or whatever. So Comic Collector Live, and this is on there. see. Notice he never talks about it. Wonder why.
I can guess.
This makes the Rippaverse look like Marvel.
Yeah.
So this is Entropy Comics. Sorry, 2003, I guess. By Gary Buechler and Doug Johnson, whoever that is. Entropy Comics. This is Gary's magnificent art. Very cool, very cool.
Honestly, I'll be frank. I'm not an artist, and that looks like something I would have drawn.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I used to draw pretty well for my age back in the day. I stopped drawing, but I feel like if I picked it up and did right now, I could maybe pretty much get to this level. It's about where I was when I stopped. Which is not anywhere near where you should be if you're trying to launch a comic book and fucking make people pay for it. It's, you know, and it just goes to show, like, I always thought that, you know, a lot of these guys, they have in their background, they have some failed creative pursuit that they've done, whether it's, you know, acting or writing or whatever it is. It's so common. And I thought that Gary maybe was an exception to that. Like, well, he had a comic book shop and maybe that's what he failed at, and he feels, you know, entitled to shit on the world because of it. No, I think it must have been this. They put out, I think, 4 or 5 issues, and you know, this was about the time maybe when he was right out of prison. So maybe, you know, he just had to work too hard to pay his, you know, whatever restitution or something. Here's his wife's art, which, you know, this cover's kind of weird. I don't know. It just has weird vibes, I guess, that I don't know what's going on here. But it's from 1989.
I think there's potential with that cover, depending on what the story's like. I think, no, I don't think it's bad.
No, this actually isn't true. This is what I wanted to find out, because I see people saying that he sold meth to children at his comic book shop and stuff like that, and it's like theirs aren't even the same decade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not sitting here trying to defend the guy, but like, there's not even in the same decade that he went to prison for selling meth and then owned a comic book shop. So, you know, I mean, I know it's funny to say, but I was actually curious about the facts, so I looked into it.
Listen, Gary's a piece of shit. You don't have to make up stuff.
Back. But like, look at the titles of some of these stories: The Joker and the Thief, The Encounter at the Fascist Convention. Weird. I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified. No ratings here, unfortunately. So. Yep, there we go. Let's all laugh at Gary now.
No, I mean, it is. I guess, you know, if he can release a comic book that fails, that means I could do art for a failed comic book too. It makes me feel better.
No, it's okay. I just see it like on Reddit. I will see literally somebody on any post about Nerdrotic will say that the exact thing almost.
Yeah.
Some variation that like, oh, he sold meth to kids at his comic shop or whatever. It's like, I've seen it enough times.
No evidence of that.
True. Yeah. So what I did was I got a month of background check service. You know how you got to pay to get actual background checks. You know, if you ever tried one online, that usually will like sucker you into thinking that you're gonna get a background check, but then it does all this calculating and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like, yes.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So finally I was like, you know what? $10. I'm going to see what I can do for a month with this thing. Yeah. His criminal record apparently is so long ago and probably expunged that it probably only comes up in a federal search, which is.
Well, I think he's actually making a book about it now.
Oh, good. Cool.
Well, I mean, you got to make up for those lack of views, I guess.
I mean, the last thing that he got in trouble for was apparently a speeding ticket in Arizona. He was doing not quite 65 and a 55.
I've never done that.
Yeah, never done that shit. But I mean, like, what it does give you is like, I know all the addresses of all his houses he's ever lived at, and the one he lives at now in San Antonio, his phone number, apparently. I've got that stuff. Not going to do anything with it, because why would I?
Not doing anything with that. But, hey, I guess.
Afraid to discuss my dislike of people. Who are you talking to? Man, why do you do this? It's sad. Do you need content that bad?
Afraid to discuss your dislike of people like Ethan or me.
I think we've made a lot of content about why we dislike people like that.
Like,
Right?
yeah, we've talked about Ethan plenty, and Geek Getaway. I'll be frank, you're just not relevant. You're
Right.
I
He
don't
wants to
care.
say that. I mean, that comic book that you guys are putting out looks about as bad as this Entropy comic stuff here. That's not Tony. He's no longer Geek Getaway. Did he give his channel to somebody? What happened?
I don't know. I haven't talked to Tony in forever. I don't know the
Yeah.
dirt on that. I think the last time I spoke with Tony was like 5 months, 6 months ago, maybe longer.
Oh yeah, you can do that. I mean, information on his bankruptcies, the liens that he's had put on him, stuff like that. Like it is invasive for sure. And I'm glad that I did it. But I mean, now I know exactly what these fucking things do. They essentially, grab information from all over the internet, and they have to pay. You have to pay from certain agencies to get information from them. So that's why you pay them, as well as just for the service. And then they kind of grab that information and collate it and give it to you. It's weird. It's weird to see the information on somebody that, like, I really genuinely don't like Gary a lot, especially lately, and just see it presented right there. And then still I feel bad for the guy, and I feel like I'm invading something by seeing it, and like, oh God, I fucking can't do anything with this. That's what it's like to have ethics, by the way, Gary.
What?
Anyway, so what else we got?
Well, I have a quickie story. I didn't really announce it, but I just thought this would be fun. So last week, for like 10 minutes, we went over Gene Simmons and all his cringe.
Oh God, Kiss is back.
And-
I saw. Fuck.
Well, guess what? Most of his tour got canceled after we covered him.
Oh.
Now, am I saying that we're responsible for this? I'm just gonna say you can't prove we aren't.
You can't prove we aren't. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how I don't know, chuds act like they're responsible for anything they want to. But no, I actually saw that Kiss is coming back though, right?
Yeah, they're doing a reunion mask-free show, and I think they announced it in collaboration with this to try to get some positive news after the tour got canceled. So, yeah. It's obviously
how many
making up
original
for this
guys
crap.
are still in there besides Gene.
I don't even know. I doubt Ace is still with them. I'll be honest. I've lost interest with Kiss. I don't even think they're terrible. They have a couple songs I think are fine, but like, I just not interested. Yeah, I'm just.
These are guys that, like, the fact that they just, like, as soon as disco went big, they were like, oh, we better do that then. Like, that should tell you a little bit about them. They are the most capitalist rock band ever.
Yeah.
Like, every single thing they do is fucking highly commercialized and commodified. It's absurd. Like, the amount of merch that they've put out. They used to have fucking Marvel comic books and cartoons and all kinds of shit. So yeah.
But yeah, and then the other thing that I had to bring up here. Hold on, I think I have it right here. So this is just a funny thing. So we'll go over the little. There's not that much to this thread here, but little exchange on Twitter. I'm not calling it X, so it's going to be Twitter. We have Grums, classy guy. You can tell a lot about Ubisoft with how much money they are throwing at terrorist platforming streamers, and Hassan Piker is streaming Assassin's Creed, which, I mean, he streams 13 hours a day. Gotta fill that with something.
Hold on, Bob. What is this?
I gotta respond to this here because, yeah, guys, I didn't want to talk about it. We were trying to keep it secret, but we've been charged with stalking charges for going after Josiah Rises. That's a real thing that happened.
That's wild because usually when you get charged with stuff, you get like papers and shit. Usually you get like. Dude, guys, I went through a divorce. I've been served before.
What is
That's
this
not
shit?
a thing. I've been.
Oh God, quiet about that. Afraid of Josiah? Well, I mean, look. Let's just say if we were actually charged with stalking, yeah, I would stop talking about him. But the fact is, we haven't talked about him. I don't think in a year. Or more.
I don't remember the last time that name even came up until now.
Yeah, he is like the least relevant of the geeks and gamers crowd. Like what? Like is it like? Dude, wait. Is that is that you, Josiah?
Yeah, no shit.
It's like,
Also,
because I'm trying to think, who else cares?
Look, let me make something perfectly clear. I will never ever leave my home for these motherfuckers. Right? The charge of stalking would be I'd have to like go somewhere to like look at them and follow them around or something. Fuck no, man, that's way too much effort. If I don't have to do anything more than fire my computer up and just say some shit, I'm not gonna do it.
I work like 60 hours a week. I'm not stalking the most irrelevant grifter on the internet. What the fuck?
Imagine if that was the guy we chose to fucking just like zero in on, like we're gonna follow him around and
the most irrelevant of all of them. Let's go after that guy.
When's the Epic Verse coming out? We're gonna keep following. We're gonna be the first to know when the Epic Verse drops.
I'm really pumped to see Ryan Cannell in ass.
Yeah. So the only reason I know who Josiah Rises is because he was the one. He's part of this group. You know, he's been on Friday Night Tights, but not very often at all. So apparently they don't even like him that much. You know, but like I guess he's closer to Jeremy Griggs and Geeks and Gamers than anything else. He's part of that crew, but like the only reason I know who he is, or first time I've ever heard of him really, was because he was listed in his videos were there whenever the guy that attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband, right? You remember that with the hammer?
Yeah.
Crazy motherfucker attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband. And then whenever it came out who he was, people looked up his internet, you know, things that he did. And one of them was watching a lot of Josiah Rises and Phantom Menace content. And so I was like, oh, who's this fucking guy? And realized, oh, he's attached to all the other guys that I talk about. I didn't even know him. So there's that. And then the Epic Verse thing was the only other reason. Yeah, and who, by the way, Josiah Rises is a fail. We looked at his fucking terrible movie trailer one time. He is a failed filmmaker. So once again, just another.
He's also essentially like a tabloid of all. Like his content really is just reading articles and being mad about them. That's what he does.
I think that's probably why he's not on Friday Night Tights anymore, if he ever really was, because he's getting to be more like Doomcock and what's that other guy that we never talk about, but he gets a lot of views.
Not to derail us anymore, but I feel this one's really pointed at me. But I'm just trying to figure this thing out. I think it's very telling that Bob has been in a relationship with many transgenders and lies about it here on stream when confronted with actual facts.
Actual facts, huh? Bob?
Huh? What?
I mean, you know,
apparently you know more about my life than I do.
I don't think. Look, I'm not here for all the streams, but I don't remember any time when somebody's confronted you about this.
With me and Bob and Turf, and we all agreed that, like, dude, I dated trans chicks. There's some hot trans chicks. We just haven't, you know, like it's just haven't done it. I've been in a relationship for a few years.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've never been in a relationship. I've dated a trans woman briefly. But that's about it.
Fucking you, dog. You. Well, I mean, yeah, nothing wrong with that. And then just like the assumption that there's something wrong with that is funny. Like, you've dated all these trans, which I don't think transgender is plural, by the way. I don't think you do that. I don't know. There you go. Thank you.
Grammar check.
I know, man. Like, these trolls are fucking fun. Can we get more like these? I like these guys.
Anyways, back to the story. We got Grums doing Grum shit, typically. And of course, guess who jumps in is, of course, Elon Musk. Hassan is a fraud. Sellout would be more accurate. Objectively, he's promoting a terrible game just for money. And I love this clapback. I just love this. And it's from Assassin's Creed, the official game site. And they just replied to Elon, is that what the guy playing your Path of Exile 2 account
Oh, yeah, this was brutal.
And dude, oh my God. Fucking ratioing Elon Musk on this one. Fucking brilliant clapback.
If I'm sure somebody's already working on or has done an edit of like the assassin in the game, like coming up behind Elon or something, and just
gosh,
that's what happened here. Holy shit!
But no, I just love that clapback. Fucking Elon, you're getting fucking owned on your own website. Most people have even left it for fucking Blue Sky, and you're still getting fucking owned. Congratulations, bro.
Hassan is a fraud. Yeah, and Elon is totally legit. Or what?
Dude, I have my issues with Hassan, although at the end of the day, I probably agree with him more than I disagree. He's way better than Elon Musk. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I've never actually seen him saying some of the stuff that I see him accused of being said. Not to say that he hasn't. I just don't watch his content, so I don't see it. But when I have watched it, he seems relatively harmless. But yeah.
Yeah, he's not perfect by any means, but like, much better voice to have out there than fucking Elon Musk or Grums. So yeah.
New accusation just dropped.
Oh.
Yep, totally. Why is he talking about that? We were supposed to be secrets.
Wait.
Lat?
You're working with him? He told me we're the only ones working together, and he's not working with you guys. God damn it!
What? He's working with you too,
motherfucker.
Next thing you know, you're going to tell me that that Eric DeBunks has been on this podcast. Yeah. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh! Look at this one. Look at this. Look.
He has the He has the receipts. He showed on screen. You're funny, man.
Dude,
you know what?
Dude, you keep this up, I may not be able to ban you because you're too fucking funny.
Yeah, it's not bannable. It's just for funny. Like, we have a channel in our secret Discord server that's all about going after Eric July, called the Initiative Fanfic because of shit like this. It's been a while since we put anything in there. Let's see if
guys, quit being so reteats, okay?
Oh god.
Let's see. Oh yeah, this was a good one. Remember the Crow Mag? Which almost 100% was definitely an alt for Alpha Eagle. And he said,
"Oh, that guy again."
Yeah, he was tweeting about me and Bob. He said the self-importance of people like Organized Chaos and Actual Fandom is sad yet amusing. Self-importance, okay.
Sure.
I got Bob, you got this email from Shit Dick. That's right. I think I got one too. Did everybody get Shit Dick emails? Yes, I got one too. Shit Dick sent me the headline where the header was "You're a lying leftist," and it said, and then the body was, "I'd drop you where you stand. I'd like to drop you where you stand." So thanks, Shit Dick.
I didn't get one. When was this?
I don't even remember that, but yeah, I think that must have been a while ago.
4/11 of last year. So yeah.
Oh, I think I was left out of that for some reason, if I remember correctly.
Well, I remember the dude who was sending Dane and Turf all those threatening fucking messages, and I didn't get a single fucking one.
You didn't get one? Really?
No.
I had that one Nathaniel guy that kept emailing me and then apologized or whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Yep, we all got the apology voicemail, which was pretty sad. And I mean, it honestly just confirmed what I think a lot of us realize about the audience of these guys, that, you know, this one guy happened to, I guess, have a moment of like, oh shit, I maybe was off my meds or something like that. I don't know what, but he fucking apologized for everything.
What is happening with this person? Like,
I feel like we're seeing them lose their sanity as the chat goes by.
You okay,
this
bud?
is getting less and less readable.
They just want to derail us, I'm sure. It's probably
it's still funny though. It's funny.
I'm not gonna lie, I think it's hilarious. So,
I mean, it's definitely funny. But like,
I was gonna say, J Fried Rippaverse. It's getting to the point where it's not even a relevant topic anymore. You're a lying leftist. Okay. I didn't get this one.
Liver Chesters at Gmail.
Liver Chesters? That sounds kind of gross, man. I don't know what this is about. All of it's pretty, to be honest. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anyways, what else we got? Oh, I did have this. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's the Ryan Canal thing that you had me grab, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not anything super relevant, but it is notable because as I was you know what, actually I want to just take a quick look at what I saw whenever I YouTubed Ryan Kinnell. And when you really look at just nothing but Ryan Kinnell videos straight down the feed, I don't know how you don't realize this, that it's all like, you know, a grift. I don't know how you don't see it.
What? Ryan Cannell? He's the most noble of them. Yeah.
Wow.
Worst flop of all time. Okay, that's a new one.
Whoa.
What the fuck? And then the arrow is it's a black man. What? There's a black man in a movie.
They're having a tough time with that one because J.K. Rowling is involved with that, so they're
Yes.
trying to see which way it goes.
Yeah, they're trying to feel the waters on that one. You can tell because it's like,
Yeah,
we normally go after this, but it's J.K. Rowling. Man.
I'm sure that Sean Connery is just like super bummed about the state of the Bond franchise at this point. And then here's them. He thinks that that you know, I guess liberals might, but generally people I'm cool with we're not down with Amelia Perez.
That was just a weird fucking movie. Like, the fuck? It felt like a fucking fever dream. I don't think it was intended. Huh?
Just so much. Oh, look, there's a video about Lilo and Stitch 12 days ago. She's not dark enough. So fans seethed over this. How much you want to bet this is just a tweet where somebody said, "Oh, she's not as dark as she is."
Yeah, it's engagement.
It's a tweet. It's a tweet with like 10 likes, and then they're like, "Oh my god, look at the left."
So just like looking at the text, the red and white text on these things is where it really becomes clear, because it's just like he's on autopilot. Whoever's making the thumbnails anyway, just like they got wrecked. This is bad. It's over. It's bad. This is bad. It's over.
I actually think that red and white text is just there's like a bunch of those, and they just put them on random videos. I think.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of randomized too. Like, you know, you would assume it's supposed to be like some sort of like inflection or something, but like it just reads weird.
Oh, this is sad. So they switched it up.
This is sad.
Everyone hates her. This is not good. It's over for them. They need help. Except these are also the kind of people that are like, you know, they shit on any kind of, like, if somebody goes to therapy or something, they're gonna shit on that.
Well, Nitrium, this is one of the things we struggle with is in order to get into the same algorithm, you have to play the game. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you have to do this even if you don't want to, because otherwise you'll get overlooked. I get this a lot on my thumbnails because I make funny thumbnails, but they've sort of carved out this part of YouTube, and you can't get in front of the eyes of the people that are watching these videos without, like, I don't want to say jumping on the train tracks with them, but you have to be in a similar lane as them to do it.
I mean, I know I've copied his thumbnail style at least once where I covered him.
Yeah.
Laziest fucking thumbnail style ever. I probably put too much work into it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I mean, like, it really is a symptom of the problem with YouTube, though, which is that, you know, you need to be the way the algorithm works, and this is with generally most popular social media platforms, that you have to be outrageous, you have to grab attention, however you can do that. And there's some less shitty ways to grab attention, like big red letters is, you know, whatever. But then there's people that are willing to take it to extremes and lie, and you know, of course, that's always risky, because if you say something in your thumbnail or title that isn't true, or you don't even really back that up in the video at all, that could cause the algorithm to reject you completely. Which is why generally you don't want to lie. But like these guys do it, and then they'll just tell half truths, and they'll definitely exaggerate based on facts.
Yeah, Jennifer says you need to be clickbaity to a degree. Yeah, you can go to a certain point with clickbait, but my rule of thumb with clickbait is even if my title is sensational, it still needs to be covered in the video. So like, if I will never use a title or a thumbnail that's just a complete lie. It could be something that I say in the video that's funny, but it's still in the video.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's to be honest to a degree, and sometimes that means doing the little cheat where you add a question mark to it, where, you know,
like saying that they want you dead is outrageous. Like that's not something that you're going to get in every video. You know what I mean?
So if you saw, there was at the beginning of the stream today, if you were here for the very beginning of the thing, there I did a little quick edit of when Gary was on with Glenn Beck. a while back talking about.
Oh wow!
Actually, I'm gonna have to jump out here because I'm already like 20 minutes over. But I'm gonna jump out. Anybody that's watching on my channel, continue to support. Stick around, but play nice. And I will see everyone later. I gotta go make some money.
So,
cool.
See you later.
Have a good night, man.
All right.
Have a good
one. And so I just want to. This actually does set up the Ryan Kennel thing because of something that sparked while I was watching this fucking trash fire of an interview thing that But let me find this real quick. Where's it at? Shit. What did I do with it?
Did you break it?
I don't know. I don't know what I did. I don't know where it is. Okay, well, nonetheless, in this interview, it's a fucking softball thing that's set up specifically so that Glenn Beck can ask Gary, so who's responsible for this acolyte trash fire thing? And then Gary goes, ha, 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 and he just like very performatively talks about Leslie Headland and how she was first thing he says about her actually is that she is a fake fan and she got her job by begging for it on the red carpet. And it says that she said somebody asked her what her favorite Star Wars is. She said all of them, and obviously that's a lie, and obviously she hasn't seen any of them. But also she was a assistant to Harvey Weinstein, and Glenn Beck's like, oh my god, and he says, yeah, that's the guy, and Glenn Beck says, I can't believe that hasn't been investigated or something like that, and it's just, oh yeah, and he says anybody connected to Harvey Weinstein by name or whatever, and I was like, wait a second, I remember we covered fucking long time ago a video that Ryan Kennel made, right?
Yes. Yeah.
About essentially there was that movie that came out, right? You have it here?
Yes. Oh.
Yep. This movie came out.
It doesn't seem like Hollywood is interested in learning any lessons from their continued woke failures, because time and time again, we tell people throughout the entertainment industry, if you're focused on identity politics and virtue signaling and pushing a narrative instead of actually entertaining people, it's not going to go well for you. Eventually, that will fail. And we see it play out time and time again. And now, after last weekend's box office, we are looking at yet another woke flop, one of the biggest flops of all time. Because this is a movie that's not made for the audience, that's not made for people that go out there and enjoy. It's made so that you can get a round of applause from the other Hollywood elites. Unfortunately, that's not very profitable. She Said is one of the biggest box office flops in history. Despite rave reviews, the film She Said's opening weekend box office numbers are cripplingly low. And for those of you that don't know, this is about Harvey Weinstein. That's what this movie is about. But instead of maybe being something actually interesting surrounding that story, it's about the journalist, the strong female journalist behind taking down Harvey Weinstein. That is something that nobody is interested in right now. And the entire Me Too era, I gotta be honest, it seems like time's up for the Me Too era because people are just sick of it. Because even though, it started off, exposing some of the things that are going on and some pretty disgusting acts, it has been co-opted. And now, when you hear a Me Too story, everyone's immediate response is, yeah, I probably don't believe that. Sounds like a bunch of bullshit because we've seen so many liars. We've seen so many false claims. And now with something like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial out there for everybody to...
So anyway, it's just weird. Because he kind of really literally downplays the whole Harvey Weinstein thing at one point. He says, "Oh, that story's not even interesting" or whatever. It's not a story, man. It was a bunch of women's lives that were fucking, really fucked up because of that guy. It's a lot of stories, but nonetheless,
I do have to wonder. So this was the biggest bomb of all time, and Snow White is also the biggest bomb of all time. So which one is actually the biggest bomb of all time? I wonder.
I mean, this one, I remember this is the only time I ever heard of it was whenever, so that's a pretty big bomb, I think. But at the same time, it didn't cost nearly what Snow White certainly cost. So there was also not nearly the fucking hype machine for this that there was for Snow White. So I don't know how.
This is the first time I heard of this movie was him talk about what a big bomb it was. And the reason why I was drawn to it was because this is the thumbnail where he did like Harvey Weinstein's gloating face on it. And it was just like, Are
You know,
they
this is
defending Weinstein? What the fuck? Are they?
There is a lot of gay stuff and gay experimentation that happens in the military with the guys. I've heard of it, talked to guys that were in the that did it. I don't have any proof that Ryan Kinnell was banging dudes or getting banged, probably most likely in the military, but he could have. He might as well. We might as well think that he did, and that's why he's so angry and hates woke stuff now, because he's so desperate to avoid that part of himself that's like, you need that dick, Ryan. Get some dick.
Oh my God, that explains everything about him.
That's why he's so angry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also is probably a black guy that he's with too, because that's why he's so fucking angry about black people as well. Is a black guy, and so he hate. That's why he's gay stuff is woke. Black people are woke. It's all woke. It's like, because when
it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
And he just sees that BBC coming at him. Anyway,
baggy and boarding comics.
He's a former sailor. Was he in the Navy? That's the gayest one. Everybody knows that. Literally the gay. No, he's not. He's renting from a house that this shit, because I tell you what, man, I know how much Gary's fucking houses cost based on that thing. And
yeah,
YouTube makes them some money. I'm pretty confident that Gary probably paid for his house almost outright. And yeah, it's not. I mean, I know it's funny to use the old, they're ranting from their mom's basement, all the old tropes of like calling out chuds that say stupid shit. But no, it's a very lucrative grift for a lot of these guys. Definitely not as much for him as it used to be, and not nearly as much as Gary, but yeah. There's nothing gay about shower time. No, I think that was the, shower time is sacred, right?
What goes in the shower stays in the shower.
Gary's action figure room looks like it stinks. Yeah, probably. Oh, I'm gay, by the way. That's why I know about the military. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's not something I would even use as a premise of a joke about Ryan Kinnell if I didn't, hadn't heard from enough people. I mean, that's true. Ranting, but look, he's just getting started. If he, I don't know how successful Ranting Revengeance has been. I doubt it. I think enough people see that he's not good at it is the thing. Like Ryan Kinnell, he's got the energy to sit here and bark out all the shit he's saying. And for some people, that is that's confidence. They see that as he's confident, he knows what he's talking about, right? They don't recognize that it's just performative confidence. Whereas Ranting for Vengeance tries to kind of sound confident and masculine. He just comes off really weak and effeminate and fucking, like he's in the closet. That's what that kid sounds like. So anyways, what else we got?
I think that's about it for me, but do you have anything?
I got something
all right.
That maybe this will just be a nice change of pace, something to, you know what, I'll save it for the end. Just stick around for the very end, because when I close, it's something legitimately not Chud related, just awesome music related, also a kind of pays respect to an awesome show that's currently going on. But yeah, speaking of which, you been watching anything good lately, Bob?
I'm catching up on Daredevil season 3.
Delegitimate.
I think we both removed it at the same time. I've never seen Daredevil season 3, so I'm getting caught up with that. Fucking love it, and getting excited to watch Born Again. Yeah.
It's I mean, Born Again is really freaking good, and that's, somewhat surprising, I guess, because he literally hasn't been Daredevil since the first episode. Spoiler alert, but like they've written such a good, compelling thing that, yeah, fucking D'Onofrio as Fisk is great as always. Just
always, dude. When he was cast, I was like, that's fucking perfect casting. D'Onofrio always does like this great villain, and he always does something different with his villains, and it's always awesome.
I remember I'd seen, I think, Full Metal Jacket, but he didn't really stand out to me as someone like that was always going to hit it out of the park until I saw a little forgotten about film, Jennifer Lopez horror film called The Cell.
Yeah.
And he played the kind of villain guy that like you go into his psyche and his dreams or whatever, and he was fucking terrifying, dude. It was. And then
you look at like something like Men in Black, where he is like the goofy villain, but still kind of scary, and it's like, Jesus, like, yeah. If it comes to villains, he's got you covered.
whenever sometimes still to this day, somebody says, "Oh, it doesn't matter," and I'll be like, "In a few minutes, you won't even be matter."
Yeah.
And people look at me like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, the bad guy from Men in Black. He's Vince D'Onofrio. He's a roach guy. Never mind. Every single time. Man, I don't know how y'all get not good or smooth or whatever. Like, do you not? I mean, I'm not going to say you're an RU quality, of a show, because whatever. It's an opinion, but I think it's very well written, considering that it's a different format from what it was on Netflix. And yeah, I don't know. It's just good to see these characters again.
I'll be honest. Like, I think Daredevil, the Netflix show, I think is really fucking good. And if this new show is just like, let's say 85% is good, that's still a good show. Not as good, but still good.
Well, I mean, in the Daredevil show, all of those Netflix shows, I always felt like they would sag in the middle because they would just had too many episodes to tell the story they were trying to tell. And they would have to kind of like kick the rocks for a little while and not drive the story forward. And I would get kind of bored halfway through.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm not going to have that problem. I don't think every single episode has had, like, if you watched the fucking Punisher appearance on the last episode of Daredevil and that was boring to you, that whole dialogue between him and Matt, that was a fucking masterclass. Both of those characters and being performed perfectly and together at each other, and it was legitimately one of the best TV shows episodes. I mean, not episode, but like a scene in a TV show I've ever seen. It was got me right in the gut, and it was also a very good use of the Punisher.
I'm excited to check it out.
Yeah, Bernthal, dude, like, he really loves this character, and that's great, but he also understands the character in the way that it thankfully, because, and I don't know if we'll ever know what the original script of this was, or they actually shot like a bunch of it originally, but he didn't want to be part of it because of whatever they were doing. He said, that's not where Frank is at. That's not where he was. Last time, that doesn't make sense for the character. And then they brought him in and he worked on fleshing out where Frank is and what he's doing. And, he's, for one thing, he's abandoned the skull. They made that clear. He doesn't like that the cops are using it, but he's also doesn't seem to be out there killing anybody. But what he's doing is he's showing spoiler alert for Bob, he's commenting just very, very astutely on this nature of the system and how it can, let people down.
Oh no, is this series gonna be woke?
Yeah, I think it's woke, man.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I'll just be sitting down and enjoying a show when all of a sudden a filthy nit.
Filthy what? Huh?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
I don't get it. What's huh?
Filthy nit.
Oh. All right. I still don't get it, but that's okay. Let's watch this.
Well, I'm not gonna say the whole word.
Well, why would you say any of the word, Bob? Come on. Okay, so
joke. I'm going
I
anti-woke.
I was having a rough start to my morning. Things were like, just like not feeling great, and I was like, oh man. And then I happened to see a video posted by JJ Trujillo, who, once again, I'm going to extend an offer, man. You should come talk to us sometime. No, we don't agree politically, it seems like, but you're on the right side of the fight between Comicsgate, right wing people that all of you are on the wrong side in the grand scheme of things, but you're on the right side more than the other guys. So here's this.
On everyone, car video, and we're gonna talk about Disney's live action Snow White. I just walked out of it because it was that bad, and I'm not making that up. Absolutely horrendous in every way possible. And let me preface this because I know there's going to be people that are watching this that are going to say, oh, he knew he was going to hate it. I went and saw Wicked thinking I was going to hate Wicked, and Wicked turned out to be an absolutely fantastic movie. I thought it was great. So I had the same level of expectation for Wicked, and I walked away thinking that was a fantastic movie because it was.
Why are you gay?
I can tell you Rachel Zegler was not believable as Snow White because she's not. I can tell you Gal Gadot's not a good actress because she's not. And I loved Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but she's not a good actress. And I can tell you that the music was not good. It wasn't. It doesn't, yes, Rachel Zegler can sing, but the music
films were not good. But try not to cuss people out on the road.
His looks are great.
We have stupid fucking people on the road right now. But if you're in the, I don't know, I need to do a whole video where I can teach people how to drive.
Being a chud, never once, guys. That's what happens.
How many Jeremy Griggs fans were really waiting for him to be like, oh, I wonder if he'll like Snow White and give it a positive review.
Right. Seriously, if you're a Geeks and Gamers fan and you're watching, man, were you on the edge of your seat thinking maybe he likes it? What if he likes it? Did you ever? No, of course
I
not.
I wonder how many of them actually even realized that apparently he gave Wicked a positive review, which I will agree with him. I thought Wicked was good. Of course, I wasn't astroturfing it as a bad movie leading up to it, but
who made Wicked? Who was that by? Not Disney.
No, I don't remember who made it though.
Don't rant and drive. Somebody suggested that we should make a segment or a compilation maybe of just chuds reviewing movies in their car. Because it is, man, it's always really stupid. But seriously, think about the fact that he, for months, maybe even over a year more, has shit on Snow White. Then he paid to go see it and then walked out because it was so bad. Is that a tax write-off, bro? I think you can write that off on taxes, right? It's
potentially. Well, yeah, I would say it is a tax write-off if we're being 100% honest. But I mean, dude, if your job is to review movies, I'm sorry, suck it up, baby. Watch the movie. I watched a fucking 50 Shades of Grey movie for the newspaper. Oof. You suck it up and you watch it sometimes.
I mean, I've walked out of movies before. I'm not going to lie, but I was not literally. I was actually hoping for them to be good. That's why I left. That's the only reason that I could imagine leaving. Is I was really hoping. And I'll tell you what 2 movies they are. Both Marvel movies. One of them was Punisher Warzone. It was, God, it pissed me off. It was so bad. That one. I loved that it was violent and rated R, but that's about it. It's other than that, it was just not a good movie at all.
When they're in the office and they have this room filled with filing cabinets, and it's these are all the people Punisher killed. And I'm like, no, that's not even humanly possible. Just no. And I feel like that movie was trying to be over the top, and it just didn't work. And then,
if it was trying to be over the top with a tongue-in-cheek way, it failed. It came off like it wanted to be taken seriously, and I did not. I've always said that if you take the violence of that movie, merge it with the performance and the script, otherwise of the Thomas Jane one, that would be a pretty solid Punisher movie.
Yeah.
Because in the Thomas Jane one is basically should be retitled the prankster or something, because he doesn't really. He's does some kind of fire hydrant joke thing where he gets somebody arrested with a fire hydrant or whatever that he puts near the car. I don't know. It's come on, man. This is.
Yeah, it's weird. The Thomas Jane one. I don't think the Thomas Jane one is terrible, but
he's great. He's good.
Yeah, and I do like Thomas Jane in the role. He's no John Bernthal. I think John Bernthal just fucking
Bernthal is the man.
Ran with that role. Fucking nailed it.
Nailed it. Yep. The other one that I walked out of was surprisingly X-Men Origins Wolverine.
So I'll be honest. I didn't go see that in the theater. I saw the leaked version. I remember watching it and be like, wow, this is really bad. But, they could probably maybe fix it up and post a bit, only to realize the actual released version of that movie and the leaked version, the effects were 99% there. It was the same looking shit. I was like, oh my God.
It's really bad. And then just dumb things I did go back and see it because my brother told me, made fun of me or talked shit because I left. He's like, I can't believe you left the movie. It's actually pretty good if you watch. And I went back a couple days later and watched it and stayed and was still fucking very disappointed. But the stuff, the guy is saying, I'm going to shoot Wolverine with this adamantium bullet, which is going to make his memory go away. It's how the fuck do you know that? What are you talking about? You just introduced this late in the movie just because, oh wait, we got to find a way to make his memories go away. Shit, we didn't do that.
We got to find a way to make the villain any threat to fucking Wolverine.
Which, I was actually kind of surprised that they came back with the adamantium bullet in Logan, but they'd used it to good effect. So,
yeah. On Logan also establishes that his powers are quite a bit weaker and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's actually used effectively there.
I'm thinking that he's probably gonna be like one of those. Oh, we didn't know he was gonna be in it, and he's gonna pop up in the movie.
Listen, like I know Elizabeth Olsen has been doing the rounds saying that she is definitely not Avengers Doomsday. And I'll be honest, I find the fact that she's saying that extremely fucking suspicious.
Yeah.
Anytime actors are talking about, oh, I won't be in this movie or I will be in this movie, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Like, I know Red Guardian and a couple of Thunderbolts were announced to be in the Avengers movie. And it won't surprise me if it ends up being a twist and one or two of them are actually dead. And so they're not in the Avengers movie. That won't surprise me. No.
That could be it. Yeah.
Take it all with a grain of salt.
I've got a thing here somewhere. Let me find it. So, like, somebody said that these movies, these more recent Sony movies, are worse than Wolverine. I mean, I guess it depends on what your metrics are, because I would say at least those are consistently bad, and like there were characters that never should have been made into movies in the first place. Whereas X-Men Origins Wolverine, that was the fourth movie that they had made with Wolverine. It was essentially the fourth Wolverine movie, because the previous three X-Men movies were Wolverine movies. And they mostly nailed those. And like one glaring example of what's so wrong with that movie is that the claws, the special effects that they use for the claws are cartoonish. Literally,
it's somehow worse than what they did in the first movie, which looked decent.
Yeah, like 10 years prior, basically, they had nailed that shit. They'd already nailed it. Why would you change up what you're doing? And thankfully they seem to have done it right in this Deadpool and Wolverine movie. If they did use CG claws, then they did it well enough that you couldn't really tell. So I'd made like an edit that was pretty funny about that. I don't know if I forget what I named it, I guess, but I added some cartoon sound effects to the scene where he's in the mirror with his claws.
God, it looks so bad.
And he's like, and it turns into a fucking, a goddamn comedy where he's like, oh, I accidentally cut the fucking sink open.
Yes.
And it's like all this lame ass humor just for them to kill the old people a few minutes later. And it's like, whoa, tonally, that's another problem.
Yeah, that was a tonal shift, that scene. It's like, absurd. Holy shit.
And then you the blob, all that stuff. Like, who thought this was a good idea? Anyways, I guess that's all we had to talk about, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
I guess
Origins Wolverine sucks.
I guess I can announce this because you may remember, like, I don't know, a year ago or something, that we had talked about doing a Nerdrotic video that was going to be kind of similarly made as the Critical Drinker videos we did. Well, we didn't ever get to that. Other stuff happened, came up, but we do still have some script and some ideas and stuff. So I think that you're going to see that that Nerdrotic thing come to fruition in a different way. And for sure this time, because it's going to be a lot easier to produce. So
I was just going to say, Jennifer, you're 100% right. As much as I'm not a fan of The Last Stand, it's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine.
True. Yeah, because a lot of the stuff that's in Last Stand was like, you just had to look at what a singer had just done twice to kind of get it right. And that's what Ratner did. Although I will argue that Ratner can be a competent filmmaker, because I think his Red Dragon is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, Red Dragon is actually pretty good.
I like that movie before I ever knew who Brett Ratner was.
Well, I mean, he's cringe. He's not as cringe as Bryan Singer, but he is cringe.
True. Yeah. Is it a tonal shift if the movie is one big fart? I don't know. Yeah.
Touche. I don't know.
So here's
it's all farts.
little thing that's going to show you what I'm working on. It's going to be a compilation that we're going to have. It's going to be a bunch of different people, friends and lovers alike of the initiative. We're going to see some content that's going to be critical of Gary.
What?
So I might change that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
I kind of like the context of the video you set up, so we could have fun with that. But yeah.
That was supposed to be the Hudsons, right? Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's sad.
That is right. Yeah.
Days
God,
of the
that was
Future
fucked
Past
up.
weird because it is mostly really really good, but then
Yeah.
it kind of ends in like an anticlimactic final showdown kind of thing. I feel like Magneto shows up and pulls. It's just like, oh, it's over now. Wolverine just gets tossed out of the fucking third act, basically. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. And then the cool thing about that movie is the very end, where it shows, oh look, all of the characters that died in terrible movies are alive now, and maybe we can restart this thing. The very next movie, nope, fuck you.
We're gonna start doing the same mistakes over again. Keep in mind, it was followed up with a movie where they got freaking Oscar Isaac to play Apocalypse, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But no, that movie still sucked ass.
His performance was fine. It's just not, like, in general, it was not a good movie. They I don't know. They should have used mocap and made him bigger for one thing. That was the one where he like literally fucking he puts his hand on the TV and goes, learning. Like he tried learning about it, missed, but he literally just says learning. And it's like, that's how a singer decided to communicate to the audience, to the idiots watching, that's what he was doing, I guess. Just say learning when you do that. And Oscar Isaac's probably like, really? You sure? It's like, yeah, just do that. Okay. Poor Oscar Isaac. He gets some bad lines sometimes. Somehow
good actor though.
Returned.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. The original Hannibal movie, actually pretty cool. I thought so too back in the day. I've seen a lot of people that didn't like it because it was such a different kind of movie from Silence of the Lambs, which it is, but I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but
I always thought it was fun how he cuts open Ray Liotta's brain and cooks it right in front of him.
Oh yeah, no, I don't really have an objection to that. I don't know. I have mixed feelings with what they do with Clarice in that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they do in the book as well. But I don't know.
Look, if they do that, we know that they've really jumped the shark.
Oh God!
They will have jumped Jeff the land shark at that point.
I am all the Avengers. Well, on my channel, guys, you may have noticed I'm not doing many videos right now, and that's because I've decided to just focus on live streaming and work on my essays. I just recorded an essay here, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and the fight against fascism, and I still have some modifications, but I record it, so hopefully I'll get that out in probably like a week or so.
What's going on with his shield there, mask?
That's something I didn't even notice. It was probably part of the AI because I removed characters from this. There's probably something wonky with that. So something I probably need to fix because I didn't notice that before. I've never blown it up that big. So this is an AI picture I did on my phone for it when I was just messing around one day. I couldn't get to my computer.
No, he literally doesn't. And we've talked about him already. So I mean, at that point, just talking about him further only helps him. So.
Mm-hmm. And when I say AI, I mean AI tools. I did not do this with AI. I mean,
cool butts.
And then new comic book poll is up as well, going over absolute books. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolute Batman, absolute Flash, absolute Martian Manhunter, and absolute Wonder Woman.
Flash was pretty good. I haven't read Martian Manhunter yet. I did read.
I'm really excited for Martian Manhunter. I love the team behind that one.
The only new comic I read so far this week is the ending of Hickman's and Capullo's Wolverine Revenge, which at first I was like, oh, this kind of sucks, and then very quickly it doesn't, and just the very last couple of pages salvage it and really kind of salvage the whole series because it was not as amazing as I hoped it would be. But this last issue is very good, and there's for one thing, I didn't understand why I was like, I don't know, is this all Capullo's going to do in this series? He's not doing anything that's super amazing so far. It's like fine, but then there is like a couple of pages in the very last few pages of this final issue where it's like, okay, this is where Capullo got to do some fun shit, and it's pretty cool. So anyway.
That sounds interesting because I have mixed. Overall I think I've only done the first 2 issues of that, and it's like it's fine, but it doesn't blow my mind.
No, yeah, that's the thing is like I guess I expected something more transcendent than what we got. But I mean, if I'm just being realistic and it's like just wanted a good, fun Wolverine, kind of side story out of canon thing, I did get that. And then the ending does have a message that works for the story, and it's good. So.
Adam, so I'm a fan of all the Absolute stories so far. I haven't done Flash or Martian Manhunter yet, although I'm pretty confident about Martian Manhunter. I would say right now, I really like Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, with Absolute Superman being my favorite. But they're all good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming Martian Manhunter looks wacky, but I fucking loved it. That's Denise Camp doing that one, right?
Yeah, Dennis Camp is writing, and it's being drawn by Javier Rodriguez, who I followed his Zatanna series last year. He does like very old school style artwork, and I think that could be very fun for Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of pages preview in the Flash, maybe, or something that I saw, and it seemed interesting. I mean, the Flash is one of the more of the ones of so far. It seemed like it's not doing anything super crazy at first, but then the very last page reveals a kind of crazy twist to it. So I will continue checking that out. Yeah. All right. Well, here's the thing that is a thing for you Daredevil Born Again folks. This is from a channel that I fucking forget who it is, honestly. Let me look it up before I share their shit without crediting them.
We will see, Adam. I'm sure they will at some point, but I mean, right now they're just like the Absolute books are just selling like hotcakes, so I don't see them really shaking the boat too much. But who knows?
Okay. So the channel's called Beyond the Guitar, and the video is titled How I Play Guitar After Watching Daredevil Born Again. Please like and subscribe on whatever channel you're watching, and then go to the other channels that are listed below. Check out some of those channels, guys. They're pretty good. Shout out to Turf Nation, who is still against his will and maybe even knowledge, letting us use his channel to stream to. I will be doing live AF on Friday as per usual, and see you then. Peace.
And I'm taking tomorrow off, and then I'll be live Saturday.
Sweet.
I'll just sit here and watch.